Welcome to EduNinja. In this A-Level Biology AS Edexcel lesson, we will break down membrane transport mechanisms, then use the idea in exam-style questions and scoring tips. For Edexcel A-Level Biology AS, membrane transport is about one simple question: what can enter or leave the cell, and how? The answer depends on the concentration gradient, the type of molecule, and whether the cell needs to use energy. Passive transport moves substances down a gradient. Protein channels help charged or polar particles cross. Active transport uses ATP to move substances against the gradient. So remember the exam shortcut. Down the gradient is passive, against the gradient is active. Now let's separate the passive processes. Passive transport does not require ATP. In simple diffusion, small nonpolar molecules pass directly through the phospholipid bilayer. In osmosis, water moves across a partially permeable membrane. Facilitated diffusion still moves down the concentration gradient, but it uses channel or carrier proteins. The key phrase is net movement, down a concentration gradient, without ATP. Active transport is different because the cell moves substances against the concentration gradient. That means a specific carrier or pump protein changes shape, and ATP supplies the energy for that change. In answers, use all three parts together against the concentration gradient, using ATP and through carrier proteins. Now let's try a real Edexcel AS question on membrane transport. Which pair of membrane transport mechanisms only involves a solute moving down a concentration gradient? Read the options carefully. A. Active transport and diffusion. B. Active transport and osmosis. C. Diffusion and facilitated diffusion. D. Facilitated diffusion and osmosis. The key phrase is solute moving down a concentration gradient. Active transport needs ATP, so remove any option with active transport. Osmosis is water movement, not solute movement. So the answer is C. Diffusion and facilitated diffusion. Both move solutes down their concentration gradient. Question B asks, which transport mechanisms involve carrier proteins in the membrane? The list is active transport, diffusion, and exocytosis. The options are A. Active transport only. B. Active transport and exocytosis. C. Diffusion only. D. Diffusion and exocytosis. Carrier proteins are membrane proteins that change shape to move substances. Active transport uses carrier proteins and ATP. Diffusion through the bilayer does not use a carrier protein, and exocytosis uses vesicles. That means the answer is A. Active transport only. For this question, carrier protein is the clue word. Question C asks, which cell transport mechanism is used to take large particles or bacteria into a cell? The choices are A. Active transport. B. Endocytosis. C. Exocytosis. D. Facilitated diffusion. Large particles cannot pass through membrane proteins or through the phospholipid bilayer. The cell membrane has to fold around the particle and form a vesicle. So the answer is B. Endocytosis. Exocytosis is the opposite direction, taking material out of the cell. Before we leave membrane transport, remember 4 scoring habits. First, name the transport mechanism clearly. Second, state whether the substance moves down or against the concentration gradient. Third, mention channel proteins or carrier proteins when the question asks about membrane proteins. Fourth, use vesicles for large particles. The quick check is direction, energy, and protein. Keep practicing with real exam questions on EduNinja. Work topic by topic, check step-by-step solutions, build smart papers, and review notes when you need them at eduninja.net.